hope you guys can hear me. Feel like maybe playing this way. No. Oh, I don't know what I did. Okay. Uh, hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. So I'm trying something new, and bear with me. Um, I am. I am. Like I said, bear with me. If you read the title, you know that this stream is about grief. I had to come on. I didn't have to, but I chose to come on simply because grief is something that a lot of us talk about, haven't been taught how to process. Um, and if you listen to society tries to tell people how to grieve or how it's appropriate to grieve. Have you ever heard anyone say something like, oh, well, they must be guilty because they didn't cry, or um, anything like that? Like, you expect people to grieve a certain way. Well, what I'm realizing in my grief process that I wanted to share, and that is, there is no proper way to grieve. You have to grieve in a way that makes sense to you. Okay. Um, for me, it's acknowledging that I'm actually in a grieving process. Even though the loss of life has not taken place, the anticipation or the knowledge that the situation is terminal and death is imminent. Of course, we all know that to be the case for all of us. But for some of us, when you have been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and that is what my family and I are dealing with. Um, the diagnosis of terminal illness for my sister. um, to some, it may seem strange to publicly come and talk to strangers, but for me, I'm using it as a way to acknowledge and comfort people, because my ultimate goal with this is twofold. One, to have some self healing. Two, is to let someone else know that it is okay to feel whatever you are feeling. I'm going to start this video by saying, and when I say this video, it's going to be a series because I don't know how long this is going to last. So this is video one. And I will start video one with saying, give yourself permission to grieve. That is step one. Because until you do that, things will be happening in your mind, in your body, in your actions, in your emotions, in your spirit. And if you don't acknowledge that grief can take control of those things. It can take your joy. It can cause you to lose focus. It can physically make you sick. So I think it's important to, first of all, acknowledge that you're in a grieving phase. Grief is in phases. One day, you may grieve in a way that you can wrap your head around, you can make sense of things, you can rationalize, you can make plans. Um, yeah, you can comfort other people, you can do all that. Then later on that same day, you are in shambles. Yesterday is part of what made me decide I was going to start a YouTube series on grief because I found myself walking my neighborhood in my pajama bottoms without my phone. And everybody know you don't go nowhere without them phones, right? You'll turn around. You'll be late to wherever you're going to go back and get your phone. I had dinner on the stove. Fortunately, it was on low heat. I had dinner on the stove. I had started cleaning the refrigerator. Um, and the next thing I knew, I was literally walking down the street feeling a sense of just being lost. Um, and I didn't even realize what I was doing until I looked up and saw my neighbors in their garage, and it's the beginning of getting dark. So I'm walking down the street. I have my jacket on backwards. Didn't even put my jacket on, y'all. I just put my arms in my jacket, and then I literally had put my hands inside the sleeves. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering that I was fiddling with the sleeves because I wanted to line the stitches up of the sleeves. Not consciously doing this, but what I realized as I kind of started coming to my senses from seeing these neighbors as I'm walking towards them, it made me have a realization of what I look like. And I looked down and I was like, I am outside in my pajama bottoms, a t-shirt with a jacket on backwards, with my arms in the sleeves. I'm fiddling the sleeves and my head was down. I wasn't even looking where I was going, you guys. And like I said, I just walked out of the house. And I remember what happened before I walked out, but I don't remember the process of deciding, oh, I'm walking out. I remember standing in my kitchen and feeling like I just wanted to scream. And in that moment, I realized that screaming would scare my children. And because my children are at the heart of all my thoughts, my immediate thought in life is, how will this affect my children? So for me, screaming wasn't an option because I alarm everybody, because alarming everybody would bring the attention to me, and then I'd have to answer questions about what's wrong, mommy, what's wrong, and my husband, what's wrong, honey. I didn't want to have to deal with any of that because I didn't want to put that on them. Like I said, I was preparing dinner. It was the end of the day for everybody, and I just had a breaking moment, and words was not something I could express. And like I said, I don't remember the process of walking out my door. I don't remember the process of getting my jacket. Like I don't even know how any of that happened. All I remember is reaching a point more than halfway down my street where I looked up and saw my neighbors in their garage. And again, that was my moment of, what are you doing? Where are you at? Where are you going? What is going on? That's the moment that it just kind of like woke up. And when I saw them and I was walking towards them, I was thinking to myself, they're looking at me trying to figure out who is this and what's going on. And then I got scared just for a second because I understand that I would want to protect myself and my family. And nowadays, you don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what their process is. So I definitely didn't want to pose a threat or come off as threatening or a person who was out of their mind. And in my mind, that's what I look like. I look like a crazy person in my mind because that's how I felt inside. So that's what I felt like I was projecting. And as I said, when I physically looked at myself and realized I don't come out my house in my pajamas, y'all. That's just not who I am. Now, don't get me wrong. I may run out to the mailbox real quick or grab a package from the door, but I don't walk my neighborhood in my pajamas, okay? So in that moment of realizing that, I said, okay, stop. And I just stood in the sidewalk, and I knew I couldn't walk forward because that meant walking towards them. But I also didn't want to look suspicious and just like turn around abruptly. So all of these thoughts are in my head, which made it more confusing. And fortunate for me, one of my neighbors is also a dear friend. And her house was a couple houses up from where I stopped. So I decided, instead of just appearing even crazier than what I felt like I looked, I just turned in her driveway and I just walked to her door. And again, in my head, I still remember having my hands in my sleeves and being really focused on lining up the stitches of both arms. I needed them to line for some reason. So I rang her doorbell and I just back up from the door while I'm pacing. And my dear friend comes out and immediately looks at me. And first she was saying, Hi, hey, when she opened the door. And when she looked at me, she immediately changed her composure, grabbed her shoes, came out her, no, 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 no. She didn't get her shoes until after. She came right out her door and embraced me. This is how you know who your friends are. People who know you. They know your norm. They know your energy. They know what you look like, and they know when something is off. And clearly, that was confirmation to me that I looked as crazy as I felt I did, because she knew something was off. I didn't even get to open my mouth and say anything. She just embraced me. And that's what I needed in that moment. I just needed to be held. I needed to feel safe. I needed to feel comfort. And that's what she provided me without even knowing that that's exactly what I needed. And I just cried as she held me. I just cried because I felt safe, and I felt loved. I felt cared about, and I felt seen. And when you're in a grieving place about a family member, your family members are also grieving, and everyone has a different grief process. And when you're a person like me, you don't want anyone else to have to carry your weight. That's who I am. I don't like to burden other people with my problems. I'm the burden carrier. I'm the one that helps other people. I'm the one who offers my time and my resources to other people when I think they need it, whether they've asked for it or not. It's just a part of my personality. So for me, I'm not comfortable asking for help. I'm not comfortable asking people for me. And that is how you end up breaking down, walking out of your house when you started cleaning the water spout and ice dispenser, and you have dinner on the stove, and you're in your pajamas and you find yourself on the sidewalk. Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm thankful it wasn't detrimental. I'm thankful that I'm protected and covered, even when I'm not in control of a situation, which is hard for me. So that's why I say the first, not first, I don't even want to put it in an order. I just want to address it, that the importance of acknowledging you're in grief, that you are grieving, that grief is a process that you're going through, is a critical phase of you grieving. There's no time constraints on how long you should grieve, when or why you should grieve, how you should grieve. I don't believe that. So I'm here for anyone who is grieving, who had a grieving point in your life, but you weren't allowed to grieve. You weren't given a safe space to grieve. You weren't given the support you needed to grieve. I am here for you. I'm here to tell you it is okay to give yourself permission to grieve. And that grief can look like whatever you need it to look like. As long as you are safe and you are not harming others, have at it. Break some shit, take some walks, start new crafts, scream, meditate, pray, call on your friends, start a YouTube channel. There are many healthy outlets to help you, support you through your grieving process. And I encourage you to find them. Do not keep that inside. Do not feel like you are alone. Do not feel like your grief does not deserve a voice. Don't do that to yourself because it will eat you up. It will cause you to lose control when you don't even know you're losing it. Don't put yourself in that dangerous position because you don't know what's going to trigger it. Words, people, places, smells, sounds, anything could trigger it. And that grief can come in forms of anger, sadness, crying. It can freeze you and make you not even physically know what you're doing or where you're at. So, again, I just wanted to help me by helping you to help me. um, that is that is the energy behind this live stream today. This was not a plan. I don't know if you can see me, but I just have on my little workout gear that I just threw on. I decided today that I've already gotten my babies off to school and I've even started dinner. I've taken care of the dog. And I had to stop and ask myself, what are you doing to take care of you in this moment? I had to ask myself, do you remember yesterday? Yeah. You remember what happened yesterday? You remember the 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 loss of control? As I said to you, even today, I don't remember the process of getting my jacket, opening my door, walking out of my house. What I do remember is standing in my kitchen and feeling like I just wanted to scream. That's all that's the beginning of what I remember. And the end of what I remember is looking up and seeing my neighbors and feeling like I look like a crazy person. And I want people to know, and I have to tell myself, I am not crazy for grieving in a way that makes sense for me. I am not crazy for just walking out of my house. I'm not crazy. Grief will make you feel. So I am here to stand with you and let you know it's okay to feel that sense of crazy. Just acknowledge it. Because once you acknowledge it, when it happens, you can safely deal with it because you have to be safe. You have to protect your sanity and you have to protect your physical self. Okay? So let's start by acknowledging that you're grieving. My sister is in a lot of physical and emotional pain. Um, there is no way to understand what someone feels when their doctors, not one, but multiple doctors, have told you that your situation is terminal and there's nothing else they can do for you. Her process is her process. But as her family, we have a process as well. It's not comparable. It's not a it's not a contest of who grieves more, who's in more pain. Excuse me. It's not a contest, but it is a grieving process for everyone. She's my sister. She's the only sister I grew up with. I am her only sister. I happen to have more sisters because my father spread his seeds among 6 women, so there are 9 of us. That's another story for another time. Anywho, back to the original story. So my sister and I are my mother's only 2 children, and we were raised in the same household all of our lives. So this is a lot. And my emotions range throughout the day. Um, and I feel like I have felt every emotion on the spectrum, um, being mad, sad, angry, um, feeling like, oh, I've got it all under control. This is what we need to do. This is feeling the loss of control. Like, I have no idea what we're doing. I have no idea how this is going to make sense. Um, Having moments of just being quiet because I don't even know what to say or think in a moment. And I think the reason that I can have a conversation right now is because a few days ago, I acknowledged that I had to allow myself to grieve and to grieve before the loss of life even occurred. Because when you are in the process of losing a loved one, you can see their life change from day to day, their physical and their mental. And that's a lot. It's it's a lot to watch. And as I said, it's not a competition. I'm not taking anything away from anyone who is at the end of their life. They call it end of life care, palliative care, hospice care. Those are all different things. Palliative care means that they are not treating you for your disease or condition. It means they're simply keeping you comfortable. Hospice means they are caring for you in your last stages of life. So, again, with that being said, it is a process for everyone that is at this place for themselves or in this space because they are supporting their loved one through the process. And again, I don't want to lose focus of why I came on today because the goal for myself and for others is to document the process for self healing as well as letting other people know that it is okay to grieve and it is okay to feel what you're feeling and that you need to allow yourself permission to grieve and to go through that process. Don't tell yourself what you should or shouldn't feel. Don't give yourself a time frame on how long it's okay to feel it. And don't compare your feelings or your process to anyone else's. I'm saying this to myself and I'm sharing it with you because I know I'm not the only one out here who feels overwhelmed with grief, who feels like they have to be strong in this grieving process because other people need them, who feel like they have to try to control this process. I am just here to tell you and to tell myself that is not the case. You feel it however you need to feel it, but allow yourself that space to feel it. My husband said something to me last night after my family was looking for me because, of course, the first thing they did was call my phone after they realized that my car was still here. And my phone was still, when they called my phone and realized my phone was here, of course, then they worried. And um, after my friend comforted me and then we started talking, I look up the street and my husband is in our driveway looking for me. And when I came back in the house, after a few minutes, because he didn't come straight to me, after a few minutes, when I'm cleaning the uh, the water and ice dispenser because apparently that's what I needed to do yesterday. I'm digging in this thing and I'm really trying to clean it. I've got a toothbrush, I've got a scrubber brush, I've got a spray bottle, I've got a bucket. Like y'all, I really was going in on my refrigerator water spout and ice dispenser. And he walks up to me and he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, as soon as he said it, I just burst into tears because, like I said, you don't know when, what, you don't know what words, what smells, what sounds, you don't know what's gonna do it. You don't know what's gonna trigger it. It just is what it is. And I told him, as I'm crying, I told him, no, but I will be. And what he said to me was, just be, baby. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to be okay. Just be. And I was like, what? What did he say? I don't know about y'all, but most men, they are not in touch with their emotions and they don't know how to be emotionally supportive. My husband loves me. There is no question. I do not question that, not a day. But being emotionally supportive, however, there's a whole nother animal. But yesterday, the universe, the spirits, the angels, the gods, the grief, the seeing his wife lose her shit, which he doesn't see, gave him something that I. So for him to tell me, I don't need to be okay. I just need to be. And it's okay to just be. And I just sobbed, but I kept scrubbing that refrigerator. And he put his hands on my hands. He said, "Do you just need to do this right now?" And I was like, "I do." He said, "Okay." And he stood there. And eventually, as he realized that I was struggling trying to hold the door open and scrub it and hold the bucket, he just started doing stuff. He just held the door. He picked up the bucket. He was just there. He was just there. He was just there and gave me just what I needed when I needed it. So I just want to share with you guys that it's okay to just be. It is okay. This is so hard. This is so hard. This is so hard. Another point I want to give you guys before I sign off is do not apologize for how you feel. Give yourself permission to feel it. And don't apologize. Don't apologize for crying. Don't apologize for taking time for yourself. Don't apologize for needing a break. Apologize. You don't owe that to anybody. So I will not apologize for the ugly cry, the snotting. I won't apologize for any of it. I will not. I actually will celebrate myself for allowing myself to feel what I am feeling and to be brave enough to share that with strangers. That's what I'll do. This deserves to be celebrated. Vulnerability is a beautiful thing. It's not a weakness. It is a strength that most people do not have the courage to embrace. I said it because I meant it. So I will say it again. Give yourself permission to grieve. Don't apologize for it. I will be here for you in this grieving process. And I am thankful for the people who are here for me in my grieving process. The weight of grief is immeasurable and it is different for everyone. So allow yourself permission to grieve, acknowledge that grief, and don't apologize for it. That's what I have for you today. And we are going to end this on a way to help with anxiety. Like, this is impromptu, y'all. This is just what it is. I don't have my tissue. The only thing I have by me is my water and my glasses. So we are going to end this with an exercise that I do on a regular basis whenever I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed, or whenever I just need to refocus my energy. I start by taking deep breaths. And when I calm my breathing, I then count backwards from 5. I start at 5 and I count down. Sometimes I have to do it more than once to pull myself together. So I'm going to do it with you. Get your breathing under control first. You can steady your breathing by placing your hand on your heart. And just feel yourself breathing. And that in itself should give you some calmness. When you reach a state of calmness, you take in those 5 breaths. Start at 5 and count yourself down. If you're ready, do it with me. Hold on, y'all. Notification is popping up on the screen. I don't know what it is. Hold on. I don't know what it's doing, what it's saying. I don't know what it wants from me. We're just going to close it out. All right? So Here we go. If you're ready to do it with me, do it with me. If you're not, pause the video and then do it with me when you're ready, okay? Here we go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, y'all. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been helpful to you. It has been helpful to me. I am now going to go and blow my nose and wash my face. Okay? I look forward to traveling this journey with you so you can help me to help you to help me. Okay? Thank you guys. I hope you have a beautiful day. Take care of yourself, okay? Until next time.